Homesh and Rashi. Torah portion Bamidbar. First Torah portion in the fourth book. Bamidbar, Numbers. We are in the fourth reading.
What they're doing. I don't see who they're
Okay, Chodesh, everybody.
Because you want to go inside. I see that they're fighting. I don't know what's going on. Yeah, but no context. Okay.
We're gonna fight over understanding Rashi and Chumash. Achaim. Okay. Okay. Chapter 3, verse number 1. Eila told us, Aaron, O Moshe. These are the descendants, the offspring of Aaron and Moshe. But Yom Diber, on the day that he spoke, Hashem spoke. El Moshe Bahar Sinai, to Moshe on Mount Sinai. All right. Verse number 1 in Rashi. Eila told us, these are the offspring. By the way, we've already had the offspring of them, right? Remember which parsha? Pesach? I don't remember. Where was it? We had it in. Okay, we've definitely had it. I can't remember. Let's see. Maybe Rashi's going to make mention. Let's see. So it goes, and it's only going to mention the sons of Aaron. Elisha, why is Moshe mentioned? It's not his sons. Because he taught them Torah. Melamed. This teaches us that whoever teaches his friend's son Torah, the Torah considers Gila Yolda as if he fathered him. On the day that Hashem spoke to Moshe, Nasu Eila told the Shaloi. In other words, the sons of Aaron became Moshe's offspring, Shalim Adam, because he taught them Mashalamad, what he learned from the mouth of God, of the Almighty. I was wondering why it said B'Yom Diber, on the day that he spoke to Moshe. So Rashi is connecting the two things together, right? That when do they become his children, his spiritual children? On the day that God spoke to him, because that's when he taught them their Torah, and therefore that's why they become his spiritual children. And these are the names of the sons of Aaron, Abachor, the firstborn, Nadav, the Avihu, Elaz, Samar. So Nadav is the firstborn, then is Avihu, Elaz, Samar. Elishma b'nei Aaron, Kohanim, and these are the names of Aaron, the sons of Aaron, the Kohanim, the priests. Hamushuchim means, that's the word Mashiach over there, right? Anointed. They're anointed. Asher mila yadam lechahen, that their hands were filled to serve, meaning they were consecrated, right? Hands filled. We've had that expression several times. Actually, we had it yesterday, and there Rashi explained it differently. Boy, I have to go back next year to learn again, huh? Yeah, I have to remind myself. But in any case. Okay, verse number 4, Vayamas, and he died. So I'm giving you the exact translation. It should say Vayamusu, and they died. It says he died in singular form. That's interesting. Nadav Avihu, Nadav ben Avihu, they died before God. Be'akrivam, with their bringing close, Eish Zara, a fire that it was foreign, Lifnei Hashem, before God. Bamidbar Sinai, in the desert Sinai, Ovanim loy hayu lehem, and they did not have children. V'yechayin alaz v'yisamer al pnei Aaron avihem, and v'yechayin, and they ministered, or they served as priests, right? Administered Elazar and Asamar al Panei on the. It means on the face. Literally means on the face of Aaron, their father, meaning during his lifetime. Rashi says al Panei Aaron, unusual term. What does it mean on his face? Panim, his face. Means b'chayav in his lifetime, right? V'daber Hashem al Moshe Lemar, and Hashem spoke to Moshe saying, what did he say? Hakre v'tzmata Levi. Hakre means closeness, meaning to bring forward, bring close, right? Bring forward. Zmata Levi, the tribe of Levi, they were not yet counted. V'mata, you say the Fanai, and place them before me, stand them up before me. Aaron, or Lifnei, sorry, no. With the print, the angle that I have here, I sometimes can't see the small nikudes. Lifnei Aaron, stand them before Aaron Hakayin, the priest, Vishar so I say, so that they may serve him. Okay, let's see Rashi in 6. What does it mean? Vishar so I said that they should serve him. Mahashiris. Rashi asks, what's the service, right? So he said, B'shamas mishmartai, that they should safeguard his charge, the fee sheshmiras hamikdash olav, because guarding the sanctuary was a duty that fell upon Aaron. Shelo yikrav zor, that an alien should not approach, meaning a non-kayin should not approach. As the verse says, that Hashem said to Aaron that your sons and your father's house with you, Tizus Avan Mikdash, that they will be responsible. This is later on in chapter 18, in a few parshas. I think it's in Baloischa, that they will bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, right? Meaning anybody who comes and does something that they shouldn't in the sanctuary, the Kohanim are responsible. So these Levites, they're helping the Kohanim. And that's what it means here, that this is a service to him, right? Because the Kohanim also are taking apart the sanctuary, putting them back together. They are singing they're singing, playing instruments but that's all serving God. What is it serving Aaron? That he has charge that no stranger should come, a non-Kohen should come to the Mikdash to do any service. Okay, verse 7. Vishomer is mishmate. They must keep his charge. Mishmer is kol ha'eda, and the charge of the entire community. Lifnei Oyel Mayed, before the Oyel Mayed. La'aved is avedus hamishkan, to perform the service of the Mishkan. Rashi in 7. Vishomer is mishmarte, should safeguard his charge. Kol ha'monei she'adam emuna alav. Any appointment that a person is given an appointment to do, and he's dutiful, which his duty is to carry out. Kori mishmeres. The term is called mishmeres, a charge, an assignment. It comes from the word shamar, which means to guard, right? So a charge is a guarding, right? You've got to guard, and it's an assignment. Throughout Torah. Mishnah, and the language of the Mishnah, as it said in the Megillah, story of the Megillah, Bigsan and Serish, the guards of Achashverosh, but my assignment and your assignment are not the same. So we see there in the Megillah, actually it's in the Gemara, it's not in the Megillah itself, the statement. And the term mishmeres is a term that used for the watches of the Kohanim and the Levites. It's also used in the same sense. In other words, it's your charge, your assignment, your watch, your duty, right? That's where it's all coming. And it's coming from the word to guard, like shmura matzah, right? Guarded matzah, right? It's guarded assignment. Shomer is called Kli, and they must protect, keep all of the vessels of the Oyel Mayed, of the tent of meeting, Ves Mishmeres Bnei Israel, and all of the Mishmeres, the charge of the Bnei Israel, Mishkan, to serve and perform their, in the Mishkan. So what is the Mishmeres Bnei Israel? Well, what is it that they need to do, right? The charge of a regular Israelite. Shekulam, Rashi in number 8. Shekulam ayizkukim l'tzarchei hamikdash, because all of them were charged with tending the needs of the sanctuary. Elishelabim ba'im tachteim, but the Levites came in their stead. B'shlichusam, as a shliach, as an agent of the Israelites. Lefikach, therefore, it's loichim mehem ma'aser. That's what the Levites would take from the Israelites' tithes, right? The first tithes with scharan as a payment. Shenemar, as it says, kischar hi lachem chelev ha'abaydaschem, that the wage is in exchange for your service. In other words, an Israelite has to bring an offering, right? But they can't do it themselves. I don't exactly understand what it means, the Levites over here. The Levites, what did they do as an agent? Safeguarding, just safeguarding. Because they didn't do any of the actual avodah. So they're acting as an agent on their behalf to safeguard, because an Israelite's going to have to come to bring an offering, but he might go to the wrong place. He might be impure. He might bring the wrong animal and all these kind of things, right? So all of that, the Levites are safeguarding to make sure that the Israelite does not trespass, does not do something that they shouldn't do. And because of that, they get... Why does Rashi bring that up? That they get meiser, they get tithes. Like, how's that in the Pshuto Shamikra over here? Like, where is the notion over here in the simple meaning of the text that the Levites are getting tithing from the Israelites? I don't see it. Why would Rashi say it? He would just say that their job is to protect them from not, their charge is to be. That is their charge, is to give. Part of their charge, that's why I'm understanding, maybe I'm mistaken. You hear my question, guys? Right? So I think part of their charge is that they have to give the meiser. Others, that's their charge, actually. No, obviously. Well, what's their charge? What's their assignment? What do they got to do? They have to give. That's the whole explanation, actually. In other words, the Levites are doing their job, so their charge is to pay them for it. How are they going to pay him? They're going to give. You're going to give meiser. That's their charge. Okay, got it. You got that? Everybody online here? Okay, let's continue. Verse number 9. And you should give the Levites to Aaron, Olevanav, and to his sons. Nisunim, given, like they're given over, right? Hema, they, loy, to him, Eis b'nei Israel, from amongst the Israelites. Okay, this is an interesting verse. Let's see Rashi. Nisunim, Rashi brings it, given. What does it mean they're given? Given for what? The Ezra, for assistance. They're given for assistance. Okay. Continuing Rashi. Me'ez b'nei Israel, from the children of Israel. Miteich b'nei Israel. In other words, from among the children of Israel. That's Kaloim. In other words, to say Mishar Kol Ha'eda, from the rest of the congregation, Nivdalu L'kach, the Levites have been separated for this, because there's a decree from God, And he gave the Levites to Aaron, Shenemar, as it says, as it says later on. I mean, he said it just here. What do we need later on? I gave you over the Levites to be presented. I don't, not exactly clear on what Rashi's saying. The verse here is saying that they're given over to him. What's this verse adding? That they're given over to assistants? We already said that. I'm not clear. Basically, you see this verse here, like what it seems like it's redundant, no? And Rashi's not. I don't see how Rashi's answering. The only thing he's saying that it's from amongst the Jewish people, that it's a decree from God that they should be taken to. I mean, that's the only. But okay, not so clear. Okay, biz Aaron biz Banav Tifkoin. Okay, now we're moving from the Levites to Aaron and to his sons. Tifkoin, appoint them. Vishamru, and they need to guard as Kunasam, their priesthood. Azar Akarev Yumas. And the Zar, the foreigner, meaning a non-Kayin, who comes close, will die. Let's see, Rashi. What does that mean? Yud, number 10. There's Aaron, his son of Tifkoid, and you shall appoint Aaron and his sons, Lashon Pikidais. The word Tifkoid over here is an appointing. Veno Lashon Minyan, but it's not an expression of counting. Right? Because this word, we used it to the book Bamidbar. There's a second word, a second name for the book Bamidbar. It's called Sefer Pikudim, which means the book of numbers. That's where in English you get numbers from, because that's the second name that's used for this book. Pikudim usually means a count, as we've had it previously. But Rashi says over here it means appointing. Like, when you have an appointment, you count. The Shema is kunasam, and they shall safeguard the priesthood. What does that mean? Kabbalah's damim. So Rashi says this is hinting, is alluding to receiving the blood from animals that are slaughtered for offerings, of Zrika, and the throwing of the blood on the altar, the Aktara, and the specified parts that have to go on the altar for it to be smoked, and the other services that are given to the Kohanim. Interesting. Okay, it's a whole maybe if we have time, we could look at this. Is interesting because 11. And Hashem spoke to Moshe, saying, "Ani hine lekachti ve'ani," and I, meaning like as for me, hine behold, lekachti is Levi. I have taken the Levites miteich bnei Israel. Again, he's using the miteich bnei Israel from. Excuse me. Okay. Thank you. From amongst the Jewish people, tachas kol bechor. Instead of every firstborn, pater rechem, firstborn that is from the womb of the opening of the womb. Ibn Israel from the Israelites, Levim, and they will be mine, the Levites. Okay. Before the Levites belonged to Aaron. Now God is saying they belong to me. Why is it now? Because now he's talking about because they're in the stead of the firstborn. I took them. Let's see Rashi. Ani hine lakachti, and I have taken. Ani, I. Mehechan zachisi behem. Where do I have the merit to acquire the Levites as mine? Interesting. Because it's ve'ani. Not saying ani, ve'ani. So it's linked to before, right? And I. So where do I get this from? Mitay b'nei Israel, from among the children of Israel. Why? Shayu Israel Seichim Oisam, because the Israelites would hire them, the Shadus Shali, for my service. So because it's superfluous over here that he says from amongst the Jewish people, right? Because first of all, it's obvious that they're amongst the Jewish people, and we actually already said it before. So it implies from amongst the Jewish people, meaning that they are to represent the Jewish people for their service, right? So, so where do I come to take them if they're there to me to? That's in other words, from amongst the Jewish people. Why am I taking them? Why am I taking them? They're there to be an agent for the Jewish people. So why am I taking them? Right. So because of the firstborn, I merit to take them. But and I took them as an exchange for the firstborn. Because the service was supposed to be performed in the sanctuary by the firstborn. But when they sinned with the golden calf, they became disqualified. But the Levites on the other hand, they didn't participate in the idolatry of the golden calf. They were chosen in their stead. So that's what Rashi is coming to the diuk over here. And Rashi is that they're there for the Jewish people. How did they become mine? Because I had mine. Mine were the firstborn. They're mine. Why are they mine? How the firstborn mine? How did God get the firstborn? Because out of Egypt, He saved them. He saved the firstborn and only killed the Egyptian firstborn. And there He says they became mine. Right? And now, because Amitaych b'nei Israel, from amongst them, meaning I took them because the firstborn was mine and they sinned, they're the replacement of them, and therefore this is how I merit that they become mine. Interesting. In what way are they gods? That they are there for the entire divine service that's in the sanctuary that they're supposed to do, right? And instead of the firstborn, as opposed to they belong to Aaron to protect Aaron. That Aaron, who's responsible, and the Kohanim were responsible for guarding the divine service, that a non-Kohen shouldn't engage in any of the service. So in that functionality, he is Aaron's, but as I don't know what you want to call it, as an entity or as a being, they belong to God. That's a distinction that I'm understanding from the way Rashi is explaining. Oh, look at this. The verse now says, because for me, all the firstborn, and the day that I smit Kol B'chor Be'eretz Mitzrayim, all the firstborn in the land of Egypt, he dashti li, I sanctified for me Kol B'chor B'Yisrael, all of the firstborn amongst the Jewish people, Adam ad behema, from not just human, right, person, but also animals. Li, you, they will be for me. Ani Hashem, I am God. Psh, fascinating. Fascinating. Let's quickly see if we can see something here. Oh, there's a lot over here. Yeah. They're a bit long. Don't have enough time, sorry.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you. A few moments.